because I've spoken to people that work here, and they've been here for like decades.
Yeah, we medicate them heavily, so they'll never leave. And we get them addicted to the drugs, so they'll never leave. I am really honored by the fact that we've had people here. A lot of them are here more than 2 decades. Hopefully that means I'm doing something right. I really do my best to make the staff here happy and give them opportunity to achieve, not only for themselves, but the people who they love, their families. I think that reflects in their work and their devotion to the clients who are hurt, and it makes them not only better people, but better representatives of this firm.
Hey, I'm Armando Leduc, producer, film actor, and owner of Leduc Entertainment. I've chosen a life off the beaten path and wanted to find others that are doing the same. Spaghetti on the Wall is a show based on all of the years that I've thrown spaghetti on the wall and nurtured what stuck. We will share fun stories, ideas, tips, tricks, and more. Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on when you are consuming this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, back with another Spaghetti on the Wall. Richard Jaffe's in the house.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you, thank you.
Do you like that?
Yeah, it's a good sound. It's a good sound.
Everybody should walk around with an applause machine, I think.
I need it. It'll pump me up.
Everybody needs to be pumped up. So, Richard Jaffe, personal injury attorney, also a medic, also a motorcycle rider, right here in Long Island.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's it. But it's a big thing. Is it in Long Island or on Long Island? So it's
what does that mean?
You have to be. Well, do you live in Long Island, like you live in New York, or do you live on New York? What? That's the play. That's the play.
Do you guys say you live on Long Island?
On Long Island.
Really?
I live on Long Island, yes. I don't live in Long Island because that would mean I'm burrowing into the island, digging down as far as I could go and living inside
So that's
the
a thing
island.
down here.
Yeah. You just get it right. So you're
So
on
you
Long
live
Island right now. I
on
live
Long
on Long Island, on the island, on the
But
power
you don't
island.
say on New York.
No.
'Cause that's
no.
weird.
Yeah, and everything else is upstate in New York.
So y'all are just all weirdos here in Long Island.
Yeah, we kind of do that thing. We're a little different. It could be the water.
I heard that that's why the pizza's so good. Is that true?
Definitely.
Because of the minerals, I guess?
The pizza and the bagels. You can't replicate it. People have also tried to replicate bagels everywhere. They've brought water from New York to different places to try to replicate it, but it still doesn't work. But it is the water that makes bagels here in New York the best bagels in the world.
So if you took the water out of New York, what, immediately it just loses its
Pretty
New
much.
Yorkness?
Yes, it loses its chemical and mineral compounding features that makes New York. It also, bagels tend to lose their accent when you make them out of state also. So it's not the same. It's not the same. Yeah.
Talk to me about your top 5 restaurants here in Long Island.
Oh, there's a lot.
On Long Island. Would you say on Long Island?
I would say live on Long Island. These restaurants are on Long Island.
Okay.
On
so
Long
tell
Island.
me your top 5 restaurants on Long Island.
Okay, but it depends on your mood, really, because if you're in the mood to go out and have a beer, you'd like a hole in the wall, and that's okay.
And what
That's
place
okay.
is that?
Well, let me start off by saying I think Prime is one of my top restaurants. I really like this restaurant because they do serve steak, okay, and steak is their main thing, but they also serve a very nice fish, and the ambiance, the atmosphere is superb, and you get great service, and especially in the nicer weather, you're looking right out on the water, and there's little chairs outside, and you could sit, and boats pull up, and they dock, and it's just really a wonderful scene. So
That's Prime?
yeah, Prime, and
Cool.
that's out in
a
Huntington.
steakhouse?
That's it, yeah, Prime Steakhouse. So really good. Another steakhouse, you can tell I'm a fan, okay, and that's a big argument what the best steak is, but I'm a steak guy. I happen to like steaks a lot, so you can't ignore Peter Luger's. Peter Luger's very good for steak. Sometimes you sit on top of one another, but there's something famous there called the schlag, and that's the cream they serve with their desserts, and that's also very, very good. But when you have a steak that is seasoned the way Peter Luger's does, and really that's all they do, it's really magnificent. Magnificent. It melts in your mouth. It really does. And sometimes you can cook it on the plate if you want because the plate's a little hot.
That's cool.
Yeah, very, very good stuff. So there's restaurants like that. Very, very good.
Where's the third one?
I would say I would say there's Italian in the mix. And I'm going to tell you, it might be not such a popular choice, but I like a place called La Pizzetta. And La Pizzetta is in a town called East Norwich. Really good pizza, but they also have specialty pizza, and the best pizza there is one with prosciutto on the pizza. And it's extremely Italian. The owner is from Italy, and it gives you that old world vibe. Doesn't really have much of an ambiance there because it's more of one of those hole-in-the-wall places that I like to go to, because nobody really knows this kind of place. So, and I don't know, I guess for my next one, I don't know if this actually qualifies as a restaurant. Do breweries actually count as restaurants?
I mean, if you eat, do you eat there?
Yeah, you can. You there is food there, okay? And they happen to have a great grilled cheese. But the Greenport Brewery is just simply amazing. It's the best. I mean, the beer is so fresh there, and they have beer that they don't sell in other places. So, you go for the beer.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's super fresh, super flavorful because it's right out of whatever it's right out after they brew it. And they have different flavors that you've probably never even heard of. And the grilled cheese is the best. The other stuff is a little too greasy. It's just not cool.
Heard that.
Cool, yeah.
All right, switching gears. So you're a personal injury attorney.
Yeah.
And I like to talk about marketing on this show a lot of times.
Let's do.
And as far as like legal marketing, tell me like the different things that you've done over the years that you feel have worked, things that were complete duds. What were some marketing ventures and campaigns that you've participated in?
So right out of the bat, when I was admitted in 1995, you're going way back, I actually took a full-page ad out in the Penny Saver. And there was some sketches there, and it was pretty big, and that didn't work. That was a big flop. That was just money right down the tubes. Although I did get some calls from a couple of chiropractors. I thought I was going to get a lot of cases from it, but it turned out that I got 0 cases from it. So I approached it all wrong. But it was back in the day when the internet was not so great. But I did convince ultimately my partner to spend some money on the internet. And he said, who is going to go on a computer, take a look at your website and say, yeah, that's the attorney that I want. But it's been the best investment. And I convinced him with the very first case because it was a big one. So the internet has been fantastic. It's just been really tricky because Google rules the world. So you have to really please the Google gods, and you have to do what you can to make sure that you're not only keeping it simple, but keeping it within the rules. But I will tell you that the internet has been the best source to get things going.
Talk to me about the difference between branding and advertising, in your opinion.
Yeah, 2 very different things, branding and advertising. Advertising is getting the word out there and showing the world that you exist. So it could be a flash of a name, it could be something on a T-shirt, but it doesn't really convey a feeling without the branding. So branding is who you are and what you represent. We're talking about your core values, and that is something very different than advertising. Advertising is getting your name in front of people's eyes. Branding is what you stand for, and you have to communicate that, and there's a lot of ways to communicate that. You can do it through colors, you can do it through pictures, you can do it through words, you could do it through video, but anything you do has to be consistent in branding, and it also has to accompany advertising.
So when it comes to branding, how are you guys branding your law firm?
Well, we start inside here at the law firm itself. So I have a set of core values. I have some standards that we live by and we litigate by. And that list is at every single desk of every single employee. And that's what we live by. So everything that the employees do, everything that I do is guided by our core set of values and standards. So something like family first is one of our values. That's one of our top values. And we mean it. So if we care about not only the people who work here, but also their families. So if there's a child of an employee that is going to graduate, a major milestone, maybe high school, maybe college, we want the employee to go there because we believe in family first. So we work with the employee and we make sure that they go. And similarly, our clients have important milestones in their lives, and we want to do everything possible to make sure that they can experience and appreciate those particular milestones. So it all starts here in the office.
And you guys are on the internet, right? What do you guys spend money on marketing-wise currently?
You mean how much we spend?
No, not how much. What you spend it on?
Okay, so we do a combination of several things. We do pay-per-click. We also spend money on SEO, search engine optimization, and that's both on-page and off-page. We do blogging. We do a ton of things. So we try to get as many reviews as possible. So it's not only our word that people trust when they go take a look at what's going on, but it's the word of our clients. So we'd like to prove ourselves and not be the only source. These people are independent, and we'd like to have independence. So we also are on Facebook. We're on social media everywhere, every single channel that you could possibly think of. So that's TikTok, what's formerly known as Twitter. I guess it's X now.
Yeah.
Instagram, any single channel, you can find us.
Which channel has been the best for you social media wise?
Well, it's very difficult to say because they all work together. If you see us on Facebook and you see us only on Facebook, then you might not have a recall of us if you go on to Instagram after Facebook. So the more repetition that you can get in front of clients, I think it would be better. So you can think of, oh, that guy's on Facebook and maybe have an opinion about Facebook, or this guy's only on Instagram and, just a picture, it doesn't really hit me. Certain channels hit people different ways. So it all intertwines, and I can't say one channel is really better than another, because somebody that says, oh yeah, I saw you on Facebook, well, that's probably the last thing they saw before seeing it on something like Instagram or TikTok. So did it really come from Facebook, or did it come from the repetition from the other channels, and then you took a look at it on the internet or something like that? So it all really works together.
What would you say to attorneys that are not currently working and doing anything on social media?
If you're not on social media, then clearly you have enough clients, because you're not going to get any more. So my hat's off to you. What I would say is stay off the internet and stay off social media, because that means more clients for me. So you're either moving ahead or you're moving behind. There's no standing still. And people are going to catch up to you if you're not on social media. You got to be on social media to do proper advertising and proper branding. Get your name out there, not only your name, but what you stand for, because that really means something to people. And you're going to develop the best clients from your branding, not only just advertising, but your branding. And because people are going to be drawn to what you stand for, and you're never going to have to worry about a client going to another attorney. You're going to do your own selling. You're in fact already sold to these clients, because that's what they want. Your brand, your values that you're communicating through your brand are aligned with a particular potential client, and that's why they're going to stay with you. So you get goofy. You get goofy on your social media, which I think is awesome. I love it. I think it's one of the things that's super endearing. And when you see an attorney, sort of being himself and a little bit more irreverent as you are, I feel like it's endearing. It makes me like want to know more about you, right? But and most attorneys, I'd say, I'm going to throw out a statistic, and all statistics are made up on the spot, right? Well, 78% of statistics are made up on the spot. But I'd say like 90% of the attorneys that I've worked with and that I've spoken with in the past are always like so image conscious when it comes to like social media, right? And they're so picky about what they want to put out there, right? But you're more like, whatever, let's just, we're getting it out there. And give me the thought process behind that irreverence. Wow, irreverence. That's a big word to live up to. Not sure I do that, but my theory is when a client calls me, I want them to have the best representation. And that means having the best attorney, one that they feel most comfortable with. And I might not be that person. All I can do is be true to myself and be myself. So I try to communicate that. Sometimes I have a sense of humor because life can't be all seriousness. And there has to be some fun. And there was a comedian who once said, you got to laugh at least once a day because a day without laughter is like night. And I like to make myself vulnerable because I am only human, just like my clients. But I think it really creates a bond when I do make myself vulnerable, so they appreciate that and they understand that there's really no difference between me and them other than the fact that they may not wear a tie to work and I wear a tie. But I understand what they're going through because I too have the same struggles. And a lot of the same things that has happened to them has happened to me. And I think that's what it communicates.
How important is it to be consistent with the marketing? Like, some people are just real infrequent with it. How often are you guys sort of getting your content out?
That's a really great question. And I don't hold myself out to be a marketing specialist whatsoever, but I can only tell you what we have found through key point indicators. So if you're not consistent, it will definitely hurt the effectiveness of what you're trying to do. And I can give you an example. We were advertising on all different kinds of channels, and things were pretty steady with new cases coming in. And the cases were quality cases. But when COVID hit, the world went upside down. So we stopped because we had to pay attention to some other things, and we went into emergency mode, and we stopped for maybe 3 months of doing advertising on certain channels. And we found, of course, that not only did our clients drop, but when we picked up that advertising through the same channels again, it took us twice as long, actually probably even longer, to build up the same pace that we once had with our advertising before COVID and before we stopped than it did originally. So if you're not going to be consistent with it, if you do something, you got to make sure to be consistent with it, and you have to have patience with it. So you can't judge it by a day, a week, or even a month, or most of the time, not even a quarter. You really have to give it time, and you have to understand that whatever you do, whatever channel you choose, works hand in hand with the other things that you do. So you can't really go, and if you're doing this method, you can't really go by what a client says because they're going to tell you the last thing that they saw. So if they say, yeah, I saw you on the internet, that doesn't necessarily mean that they saw you only on the internet and that's why they're coming to you. They might have done some research on the internet, but maybe they saw you on Facebook and Instagram and a billboard and on TV, and they remember who you are, and subconsciously they think, okay, this guy really must know what he's doing and he's part of the community here, so let me give it a go. You really have to concentrate not only on one channel, one aspect of advertising, if you will. You really have to have it work together in conjunction with all advertising. And before you even advertise, make sure you know what you're advertising. That would be things like your core values, and that's the branding. That really is the branding.
What do you enjoy most about about running a law firm, not necessarily just being an attorney, but, what are some things that just really fill you as far as running this company?
Well, let me start by saying first, I love these people. I love who I work with. I love my staff. They're not only fantastic workers, they're fantastic people, and they all do share these common values. And some of them say, I don't need these core values posted here because I have those values anyway. So family is very important to them. Honesty is very important to them. Integrity is very important to them. I love that. And what I also like is providing an opportunity for them to better their lives, and in turn, they better the lives of their families. That's probably the best thing about being a law firm owner or partner. But this experience has really given me an opportunity to have the privilege of working with some of the people who are top in their fields, not only in the state, not only in the country, but in the world. We handle a lot of traumatic brain injury cases, and it's still a field that is evolving in the medical world. And so, for instance, I have worked with some of the people who have studied this, who are leaders in their field, from Germany, from Austria, from Canada, and of course here in the United States. But just having the ability to talk to these people, having access to these people, it's just amazing. Some of the best accident reconstructionists in the world, some of the best doctors in the world, and that in turn has helped me better direct my clients for better health care and better direction to make their lives better. So it's really been a privilege to try to become an expert myself by talking to the top people in the world in their fields.
I love that, and I know you're a bit of a humble guy, but I will say, because I've spoken to people that work here, and they've been here for like decades. Like people that have worked here are like lifelong, Cohen and Jaffe like people.
Yeah, we medicate them heavily, so they'll never leave, and we get them addicted to the drugs, so they'll never leave. I am really honored by the fact that we've had people here. There's actually one person here that's here in the firm longer than me, which is incredible. He's here 8 months longer than I have. He started before me in 1992. I started in May of 1993 when I was a paralegal and I was going to law school at night. So we were only like 5 people with wires sticking out of the walls and, thermal faxes and kind of crazy things. But we have people here more than 2 decades. A lot of them are here more than 2 decades. So my calendar clerk, Dara, she's here 26 years. She's here 26 years. My God, I'm getting old. I have a couple of people. I have some of my paralegals who are here. One is here 22 years. One is here 23 years. It's been quite a ride, and most people are here more than 10 years. So hopefully that means I'm doing something right. I really do my best to make the staff here happy and give them opportunity to achieve, not only for themselves, but the people who they love, their families, who are in turn the families of the firm. And I think that reflects in their work and their devotion to the clients who are hurt, and it makes them not only better people, but better representatives of this firm.
I mean, it's incredible. It's a testament to you as an owner, and as a CEO of your company, because I think that trickles down, right? Like it has to, when the CEO is on edge and stressed out and then he puts that energy towards everybody else, well, then that also infects how they interact with the clients, right? So, I mean,
it's contrary to popular belief, but I was not locked in a basement for 3 weeks, and my mom and dad only abused me once in a while. So I guess I'm lucky in that part. And no, in all seriousness, I can't tell you this is why I am the way I am. It's probably because of my parents, who had strong values themselves. And I saw the value of their hard work. And I also saw how particularly my mom was treated, she hit a glass ceiling because she was a woman, and the company was owned by men. And it really frustrated me at the time. I was younger, but I never want that kind of atmosphere. Like your hard work is never going to pay off. And I also don't want to run a slave ship here. I want their work to mean something to them. And everybody's an individual here. So I try to treat them as such and get them whatever they need to achieve their jobs.
How do you stay, I guess, on top of trends and on top of, things that are regarding your firm and how to keep growing, because you did mention that if you're not growing, you're not.
If you're not growing, you're dying.
You're dying, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just you can't stay, sort of status quo because it just doesn't exist.
I find talking to colleagues in the same area of law and sometimes outside of this area of law really help different strategies. That really helps, and I get that through conferences. I'm a part of a great organization called 8-Figure Firm, and that has really allowed me to get some great business ideas. And when I say business ideas, I mean ways to improve the efficiency of the firm, make people happy, keep people happy, and run it in a way that is progressive as opposed to turning back the clock and having everybody dress a certain way and having a certain formality. I guess that's my vulnerability being passed down. So I also, when I interview people to work here, I ask them why they're leaving and what is it that they didn't like about their old place. And they tell me, and some of the things that happens in other offices, quite frankly, I find quite abusive. And I really try to be conscious of that. And I try to obviously avoid all those things. And I also like to express to my staff that I'm thankful for their work and recognize them. That really helps. And I ask them their ideas, what would make it a better place to work here. So, and a lot of their ideas are very doable, and and they appreciate it when I listen to them. So something like we recently decorated for Thanksgiving. We have a Halloween party every Halloween, and we celebrate people's birthdays, not just one a month, but every single person's birthday. We celebrate it, and certain achievements of theirs, not only the staff but their family. We also celebrate it here.
That's amazing. I think you're really an amazing person. I'm going to put you on the spot real quick.
Okay.
Why do you work with us?
Because I want to work with the best in their field. And quite frankly, and I'm not making this up, and this really is on the spot, I like to invest in excellence. And you are somebody who embodies excellence, if I may say. I've worked with other videographers. I've worked with other people who do podcasts, and I'm really not happy with their product, and I haven't gotten results from their product. And when I say results, it may not be a client, but it's people talking and saying, hey, I saw you on, boy, that's a great video, and I get compliments on the video. And that doesn't happen unless I make videos and podcasts and all kinds of consumable media with you. And it shows in everything that you do. You're smooth in what you do, meaning that everything is a smooth transaction. There's no going back and forth. What about this? What about that? I have full, utter, complete confidence that when I sign up with your firm to do all the media that has to be done, everything will be done. I don't have to worry about a thing.
I appreciate you. Thank you for saying that. And you didn't have to say that.
Yeah, I told you I'm heavily medicated.
No, I really appreciate that. I always wonder why people choose a certain person, right? Like, are you choosing the person? Like, and it comes down, like firms too, like attorneys. Are people signing up to be a client of Cohen and Jaffe because of you? Is it because of the people? Is it because of the firm as a whole? What do you think it is? Like, why do people make that decision?
When I chose your company, I chose you. I know you have other people that work for you, but you're the front man for the whole thing.
Right.
And what you do is first of all, you don't deliver something that is a bad product. Second of all, you don't say something and not deliver it. And third of all, you're really pleasant to work with, so it's not a tense atmosphere, and you know what you're doing. You're a professional, and like me, you have strong core values that shine through. And you don't have to come in and say, these are my core values, 1, 2, 3, 4, and list them and give them to people and say, these are my core values. They will know when they meet you because that's what you exude.
I appreciate that. Last question, because I want to circle it back to you. Do you guys have sales people in the organization, like in the firm, that do like, I guess, the intake? And is it considered a sales position? Or is it just somebody like you get hurt, they come in, you're asking them questions, I guess, and then like there has to be an ask, right? Like the ask is, hey, we would like to represent you, and then you have to accept. Is that correct?
Yes, we do have, I wouldn't call her a salesperson, but we tend to call her an intake specialist. And intake is very self-explanatory because you're taking in the information for the very first time. But specialist is more a part of her title that is more significant because it does take somebody special to be sympathetic and understanding to what a client is going through. And that's exactly what Erica does in my firm. So she's going to be one of your very first points of contact, if not myself. I give my cell phone out to anybody who I can, and they can call me 24/7. So in a sense, I'm what you're calling a salesperson, as well as Erica, but it's not really sales when the person who calls already knows that our core values and our mission and our vision matches with theirs. So it's more like, hi, I'm calling because I want a retainer. They actually ask it. And that's the goal of the advertising and branding. Many times we don't really have to do the asking. It's the other way around. They ask us, can you please represent me?
Gotcha. So there's no real, I guess, sales presentation. I guess they've already made it. If they're calling you, they're already pretty much made up their mind that you guys are going to be the attorney.
I would say the vast majority of the time, yes, they've already made up their mind. But there are some tire kickers, and certainly they're entitled to that, and I welcome them to call. And when that happens, usually I'm on the phone with them because they don't want to speak to somebody who is not an owner or a lawyer. They'll say, I have to speak to the lawyer. If that's what makes them feel good, okay. Whatever it is, to communicate to them that I'm okay. My firm is okay to trust, because if they're doing that, that means that they haven't had really an interaction with an attorney before. So they're kind of throwing a dart at a dartboard when they call my firm. And I want to be able to be the person who they select, not because, I might speak a different language or something, which I do, not for any reason other than I am communicating correctly that I am not only the best attorney, but I'm the right attorney for them. And if I'm not, I'm going to be honest with them and say, I think you're better off with X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Do you think that there are other attorneys out there that are that open to getting on the phone, especially if they're running, the size firm that you're sort of running, that they're like, hey, yeah, call me on my cell phone. Like, I don't really see that often.
There's attorneys who definitely don't like to do that. But I think they're really doing a disservice, not only to themselves, but to the clients, because the clients are not going to have a journey, if you will, from the time that they really need you up until the conclusion of their case that they really deserve and are entitled to. So if you're an owner and you're not getting on the phone with that particular client, then I think it's a wrong move. I really think it's a wrong move.
Yeah.
If based upon the information that the client sees out there with your advertising and branding, if they're confident enough that you are the right firm, okay, then you don't necessarily have to talk to them. But if they're a tire kicker, as I call them, if they want to know more information, if they need a better feel of what you represent, then yeah, I think you have a responsibility to get on the phone with that client. And if the client isn't able to talk to the partner, then that's not the right firm for you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Cool. Well, look into this camera over here and let them know where they can find you.
So I'm Rich Jaffe from the law office of Cohen Jaffe, located here in New Hyde Park, New York. My website address is www.cohenjaffe.com, and you can email me anytime you want with my initials, RS as in Sam, J at cohenjaffe.com. Or you can find me on social media. Just punch up cohenjaffe.com, or just use the words Cohen Jaffe, and you can find me on any single social media channel that you.
And you should look it up because it's funny. This guy is hilarious. These videos are amazing.
The best videos, the best producer of videos too.
They're awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And that was Spaghetti on the Wall, brought to you by Leduc Entertainment. For all of your social media marketing needs, podcasting, we got you. And you can watch Spaghetti on the Wall anywhere where you can find a podcast. Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio. You're probably listening to it right now. And we'll see y'all next week.